What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am Jerrett Wilson, one of your hosts, and joined to my left by Zachary Parks.
What's up?
And to my right, Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
So today, for this next episode into Team Chat, we wanted to talk about addicting games. What are those games that you can just never put down? Should be an interesting one.
It should be an interesting one.
I had to kind of go back into my history for this one, though.
I did too.
Because I was thinking about it today as I was trying to plan out everything, and I was thinking, that now I don't know if there's necessarily a game that I feel like I'm addicted to in the sense that I just can't put it down. Right. Because I feel like as I've matured into an adult man,
you don't have the time.
I don't have the time to be addicted to a game like that anymore. So I feel like I have to. I'm easier at stopping, if I'm just like 3 or 4 hours. I want to say right now, 5 hours is probably the longest I could go before I'm just like, God, I want to go do something else right now.
You gotta toughen up.
Yeah, Mogan's playing
I have the opposite problem. All
hours.
of my addictions are ongoing. These are active problems.
Mogan's can really talk about this.
So I for this one, I had to really kind of go back and pull down some, from the older games that I played when I was a teenager, when I did not have this wonderful thing called a job and life and responsibility.
I have a job and a life and responsibilities. And when I was making my list, I just looked into my hands and I was like, oh, here it is. Never mind. Number one.
I picked some.
Hold up. Can we? Can you just go turn down the main volume on that? I'm looking over there and it looked like it's not much. Just the main slider right there. It's looking like it's peaking just a little bit, and I don't want it to go too hot. That looks good. Hey, I mean I did it with that, but no, I think that's good because we're just talking here, and it might peak a little bit, but it's never been bad. Okay. All right. What were you saying?
I was saying that I've picked some obscure games too, some games that you guys might not have heard of.
Oh, we'll see about that.
That's exciting for me.
We'll see about
that.
See.
I know Mogan's kind of got a big catalog in her head, which surprises me
It's
every
not
time.
even. It's just that you two
Dragoon?
specifically, The Legend of Dragoon. It's one of the best RPGs ever.
We should have a whole show devoted
I
to
will
it.
eventually find a reason to talk about it, and it'll be the whole episode.
I had one of my buddies who listened to the first episode, and when you talked about that game, and he was like, I might have played that one.
I feel like
I'll
there's
have to go
going
look
to
it
be.
up.
See, I'm going to make a revival happen, which is unfortunate because the only place you can buy it is really obscure used video game stores, and only one disc at a time. Because that's how I keep having to buy my replacement discs.
You still play that much?
Oh yes, I still play that much. My brother and I have gone.
What are you doing to break your discs?
Well, first of all, there's 4 discs, and we're playing it on the original PlayStation 1, of course.
Wait, there's
so
4
there's
discs
4
that come with the Legend of Dragoon?
Yes.
Really?
This was in the RPG days of PlayStation 1 where you had multiple discs, and eventually it was just like a VHS. You got to a point in the game where it was like, please load disc 2.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what, do I open it? What will happen if I do? It was very nerve-wracking.
4 games for one,
so
it feels
we always lose discs 2 and 3. But 1 and 4, we've never had any problems.
Just skip to 4.
Damn it, this was in the PlayStation earlier. Where did it go? So, all right.
Addicting games.
So it's kind of funny for.
How did you guys approach this too? I wonder. But yeah, go ahead.
I just looked at about ones that I know I threw a lot of time into, and ones that, especially when I still lived at home, that I got in trouble for playing so much, and my parents would be like, "Okay, you can't play this for a while. You're playing it way too much." So some of these. Those are 2 examples. One of them is just one that I was just like, this game is legitimately the best thing I've ever played up until this point, and I have to keep playing it.
I think we all know what he's talking about.
Do we, though?
Is it The Last of Us?
It's not The Last of Us.
Oh, I was wrong. I thought
Spoiler
we were
alert.
The Last of Us today?
No, we're not going to talk about because that's the thing. Even though, yes, I love The Last of Us. Last of Us is my favorite game as of right now. Open to possible future contenders. But... even though I loved it and I played it so much, and went through the story really fast and still go back and play the multiplayer now, it's not one that's just it's one that I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to. I want to be able to go
you don't
back.
listen to a song too much.
I want to be able to go back and do another playthrough, which I'm planning on doing soon, and I want it to still be like, oh man, this is why I love this.
Yeah, you got to give it some time. You got to give it like once a year.
Of course, now it's been a little over 2 years since I
been
beat
a
it,
couple
so
weeks I can do it.
it's probably time to get that started. I want to try to platinum it eventually, so that's a goal of mine.
Is it really 2 years old?
Came out in June 2013. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow. Did you never played it?
No, I did.
Oh, you did? So
Yeah,
I'm
I
only
didn't
one.
beat it, but I played it before
like,
my bro
"Eh, this
moved to
game's not that
college.
good."
No, he took the
he
PlayStation
took
with
it
him.
it's
I
devastating
couldn't
story.
play it.
Sorry, making a note. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into our list, starting with our number 3 as per usual, and let's go. Starting off with
I said
start
not
with
me.
Jerrett. We never start with Jerrett.
Okay, fine. We'll start with me.
Look at me. Taking control for once.
Do it. Take control of this episode. All right. So my number 3 is one that brought me a lot of joy due to my side passion of history. Or it's not so much of a passion anymore. When I was a younger kid, it was. I still really love history and all that. But so I really love this game because of that. It took me back to my favorite time period, the medieval times. And this game is Stronghold, a castle sim game from 2001.
Oh.
It's
I don't know.
It's you should look it up. It's super fun. Watch some videos and stuff like that. Basically,
Wait, 2001?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Wow.
It's an older one, and this is what I meant. Like this is one that here's what I've decided: real time strategy and turn based strategy games will always pull me in.
Yeah.
I will always be trapped by their spells and kept engaged for hours upon end.
Mm-hmm.
So Stronghold is one of those games. It's even though yes, it's a castle sim builder where it has a campaign mode where you follow a bunch of missions. You're like a squire who's I want to say your father's killed or something like that, and you're trying to retake his lands from those who killed him. And it's like this federation of 4 other lords: the rat, the snake, the pig, and the wolf.
I want to be Snake.
Yeah, I want to be Wolf.
You can't beat those. But it's like in the single player. I think you can be in the multiplayer assets and stuff like that. But anyway, so you just slowly take over these territories by completing these missions. And the first ones are the typical like collect 20 wood and and something like that, just to get you the basics down. And by the end, you're taking on like really complicated ones like survive all these attacks. But it was super fun because you could do that. You could also do one where it had a map builder, so you could build your own scenario, as it
I
were.
love maps.
And then it also has a multiplayer
Yeah,
where you
it's
could
not
play
like building them.
where you could play online against other people, which for 2001 that was
pretty
the start of a newer thing. And it has a few sequels. I want to say it's up to Stronghold 3 now, which I also have, and then they also did an offshoot, a spin-off series, Stronghold Crusader, which, as you can tell, took place was set in the Middle East instead of the fictional UK.
I honestly would not have even guessed that. I just been like Crusaders. Lots of people are called that.
Yeah, they're all over the world. Could be anywhere.
And so it takes place in the Middle East, and I just saw that they released rather recently a Stronghold Crusader 2. So
it's a game that's still
For
going.
there being
Still
so many
going.
installments, I haven't heard of
know,
even
that's
one of
surprising.
them.
but that's the thing.
There's-
It's like a friend of mine introduced it to me, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing!" And I played it a bunch from there. And then I played it. I would always go play it over at his house. I finally I got it for at home, and I played it a ton. And it was one that, yes, I was told by my parents, you have to take a break from playing this. You're playing it way too much. And so I did. And then now I have it still now. They finally released it thanks to goodoldgames.com. You can go on there and buy Stronghold and Stronghold Crusader for Mac. I mean, you can buy it for PC too, but I have Mac, and that limits me sometimes. But anyway, and so I still play it now. And like I said, about Stronghold 3 on Steam, so I've got that one there.
So you make castles.
Basically, yeah, that's it. You make castles. You can also do like scenarios. In the first Stronghold, you can do scenarios. Like there's one. My favorite scenario is you start with a pre-built castle, but you can still edit it. It's pre-built. You have some troops already selected for you and positioned on your castle and all that stuff. But you can still take it and edit it in any way you want. But the thing is, you face a wave of each of the bad guys. You face the rat, the snake, the pig, and the wolf, and they each get harder.
Wolf's toughest.
The wolf's toughest. Like the rat, the rat just attacks with a bunch of archers, which are really annoying, but they're super easy to kill. The snake attacks with a lot of mace mitten.
I don't even know what that is.
It's just like
like with like a mace.
yeah, the
Oh, okay,
mace.
gotcha.
Yeah, not the
Mace
spray.
man.
The
Yeah. Yours.
and then like and they're slightly more difficult to kill. The pig attacks with a whole lot of pikemen. And then the
Sounds like Pikmin.
Now we're talking.
That's up my alley.
and then the wolf attacks with a whole lot of swordsmen, like ironful knights in armor swordsmen, which are ridiculously hard to kill. And then each one has like, even though their main army is built of that one unit, they also still have like supporting archers. They'll even have engineers that build like siege equipment to try to shoot down, break down your walls and stuff like that. So it's super fun because you can put like tar pit traps that you can set on fire with your with flaming arrows. You can do like spike pits and stuff like that to try to stop the other guy. It's just it's one of those things. As with any simulator, your creativity can just run wild with it, and it just.
But you're still on like a time limit, kind of. Like you still have to complete a task before the next wave comes. Like, is there?
No, it depends. Like the one that's where all 4 waves from all the bad guys come. You just take one as it is, and then you have there's a limited amount of time before each one hits. Again, it's not like you're like, okay, I'm ready, send the wave.
Right.
Oh. Dang.
Nice.
You just have to repair and retrain troops as fast as you can to get ready for the next wave of guys to come. I have never beaten it.
Oh.
I will say that.
It's that hard.
That
you're
scenario is.
That poor at it.
That's one thing I will also say. I love real-time strategy games and I love turn-based strategy games, but I will admit I am not the greatest at them.
No.
But I love it, damn it, because it's just so you have to just stay. It's one. So Stronghold is a game. Even now, I can log on to Stronghold 3 or the original Stronghold and play hours and then look up and be like, oh, I've been playing for 5 hours. I should probably go do something else now.
Now, how much of the game has to do with like interior design? Like how super fancy do you get to? Nah, it's not.
It's
a game
all
for
outside.
Me.
You're building barracks. You're building towers.
Designing the interior
Yeah,
of the
like
castle?
making your throne room super fancy and fun, putting some new
just
drapes
Sims.
up. I care about the important stuff.
No, it's not that. You don't get to do that. Sorry.
Fire hazard.
It's all about the
We're
fighting.
gonna block
and
all
the
the
defense and all that.
exits.
We're gonna go down with style.
That's right.
Yeah, like I said, super fun. If anyone's interested in checking it out, you can buy it for like $5 on goodoldgames.com.
Cool.
Zach, let's go
Very
to
cool.
you.
My turn? Okay. So my number 3 is a game that came out in 2006 on the Xbox Live Arcade for Xbox 360. Marble Blast Ultra.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Never
Arcade
heard of
game.
Okay.
Can you guess what it even entails?
Marvel characters?
Is it something where you're like
perhaps?
I might have played something similar to this because
Okay,
I had
wait,
a
say it
game.
again.
Marble Blast Ultra. I think
'Cause I had a
it's
game-
Marble Blast Ultra, not Marble
because-
Blaster. Marble Blast Ultra, I think.
Because I had a game that came pre-installed on an old computer called Marble Blast Gold.
Yes, that is the prequel.
So it's like you're okay.
That is
So
the
it's like where you're a little marble and you try to. I'll let you explain it.
that is the first sentence out of my mouth.
Wait, are you saying the word Marvel?
Marble.
Little round ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
marble,
okay.
marble.
Never mind.
Marble Man.
Marvel Man.
You're not a marble man. You're a marble, an actual marble. And so I never played Marble Gold. I actually just looked that up the other day. I didn't even know there was a prequel to it. I thought Marble Blast Ultra was an only game, but it is the sequel. And basically you are a marble. You can control it around 3-dimensional worlds. You start out on very easy worlds where you learn how to jump, you learn how to roll, and you have like kind of a boost that you can use when you're jumping in the air. You hit like right bumper and you have a little explosion. And the only thing you have to do is get from point A to point B. That's it.
I love it.
I love it. I know. So, when I was thinking about addicting games and what makes them addicting, I kind of thought about like the mechanics and games like that where you have to beat your own time because it's a time game. You have to, there's little items that you can pick up throughout the map, time travels, like little hourglasses that are spinning that stops time for 5 seconds. You can get all of those, and get like a really short time. So games like that really draw me in, where you have to beat your own score. A lot of replay value there for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Marble Blast Ultra, just what was so great about it, first of all, it's just a good-looking game. It was like kind of an in-between between kind of cartoony and also kind of really realistic. As the maps progressed, they got a lot more intricate, a lot more complex. I mean, ice was involved, different materials, gravity changers. So you would hit one item and the whole map, there was like one map, for instance, was a cube, and it would flip and you'd fall into another platform. And I tell you, I played this game for hours every day with my buddy, and we'd try to beat each other's scores. We would try to find the fastest way to get through these maps. There's one map in particular, Black Diamond, that we did so many times where it's just like a downhill ski slope, but it has holes everywhere. And I know you're like trying to picture it in your head. I can see Mogan like
I'm having a really hard
trying to
time like
picture
visualizing what this
So
would actually
they're
look
like
like.
platforms, and you're suspended in midair in what looks like just almost a globe. You imagine
Yeah, it's like
yourself in a
you're just in
giant,
the
like,
sky.
snow globe. and like the sky is filled with stars, and you're just in this platform that's suspended right in the middle. It's cool. It's a really cool looking game, and it's got really cool music too.
Do
Talk
either
about
of
interesting
you
soundtrack.
happen to remember Super Monkey Ball?
Oh yeah,
Because it
No, I
sounds
don't
a
know
lot
that.
like that. Am I
It is.
close?
Yes, you are
Okay,
close.
okay.
Yeah, Super Monkey. God, I didn't even think of
Because
Super Monkey
now
Ball.
I've got like a little bit of a better idea.
It is like that, where
Okay.
Super Monkey Ball is like you're a little monkey in a ball flying
Yeah.
down maps like
Now,
that's in Marble Blast.
Do you get to customize your marble?
You do. You get to unlock other marbles. You don't get like full customization like games nowadays.
Like,
where
does
you
it
can,
have
like,
outfits?
Right. You can have different shape.
Is it a boy marble or a girl marble?
Yeah.
Can I
Can
be
you
a
pick that?
square
Transgender.
marble?
It's got different colors, different. Like I always had the marble that was just a mirror, so it reflected everything around it. Which I
that'd
thought
be
was really
trippy.
cool.
I
know,
want
it
to
was
be
really
a
cool.
cat eye marble.
Well,
Is
I don't know if
that an option?
No, there could be a tennis ball marble, I believe.
That's not cool.
But anyways, the levels were divided into 3 different categories, like beginners, like intermediate, and advanced. And obviously, I played this game so much that I got really good at the advanced levels, which were tricky. I mean, balance beams, like wooden beams that would connect the platforms in like really tough ways. There was tricks to, you got into like, when you played a game a lot, when you were using glitches, when you're using stuff that you find online to like shoot the marble, like by getting this one space where, moving platforms were involved and you could kind of squeeze a marble into a moving platform and a wall and it would shoot
and it
you.
would fun.
Like all the way there. And for probably 2 months, this is Xbox 360. Xbox Live is pretty popular. For 2 months, there's one level in particular that I was number 8 in the world. I'm serious, for the fastest time. And there
You
was
should have
like
gone pro
8.
playing that game.
Now there was like 300 of us that had the same time. It was like 7 seconds flat. And
Yeah.
but I was number 8, and I'll always remember that.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. It was kind of one of my pride accomplishments.
Is
yeah.
it still up
Video
there?
games.
Like, can we still find you in the list?
So last time I checked was years ago, and it was even a while after I'd gotten there, and I had gone down to probably like 5,000 or something like that.
So yeah,
someone
you're probably
I mean,
like way down there now.
and something else happened. Everyone had 000, so it was bullshit. It's just
We're all tied, but there has to be a ring.
where's the fun in that? They just figured out like just when they spawned on the ending or something.
Yeah.
Must
Oh,
have,
so
you
like
know?
a cheaters.
Cheating. It had a multiplayer component. You could play online with other marbles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, where
Yeah.
you're trying to, so you can like knock each other off and stuff.
God, I don't even.
Yeah, was there, like, a
really
battle
remember.
component?
It wasn't. We would like fly around. Oh no, you had to like collect gems, and the first
Yeah, I
person to
remember
collect
that.
the most gems was what it
Oh,
was. They had
gotcha.
speed boost, mega marble. You turn into a giant marble, and if you hit somebody, you'd fly them off the map. Stuff like
Nice.
that. Really cool stuff. I mean, it's just an all-around really well-made game, and forever I've been praying that they make a sequel to it because I
they
think it's
will.
underrated. I don't know if not a lot of people knew about it or whatever, but it was just one of those games. It was a perfect puzzle / action / strategy game. That
It
they
sounds
had
like
on
it
the
would
arcade.
make a really good addition to like mobile gaming.
It probably
like it sounds like they
would.
could
It would
probably
actually.
do it
That's
really
a-
I feel
well.
like it would
on-
translate really well to a
You can
to a
almost do
mobile.
that.
Nobody,
too.
nobody take that idea.
Moving right. But you can
Trademarked.
almost
Dibs.
move it by just tilting your phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
what I
what I was
was
saying. Like, I don't
thinking.
think you would need a directional pad or like a touchpad on
Yeah.
the phone. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
yeah,
That'd
just
be
use
pretty cool.
just use the phone itself.
But yeah, that was that's Marble Blast Ultra, and that was still one of my favorite, like really one of my favorite games. I love that game.
Nice.
And I'm missing stuff like there's a power up like the helicopter. You turn into a helicopter.
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
the
yeah,
what
yeah.
now? The
I
helicopter?
forget, it's
Yeah,
well,
it's
like the
like it gives you like a little just like propeller
But she
sticks
says
out of the top of
something.
you. And,
Yeah, and the girl says something like
Yeah.
helicopter. She had a really cool voice. Mega marble.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And
Yeah,
was,
I didn't
like,
play
so into
Ultra.
it.
I didn't play Ultra, but yeah, like I said, I played Gold, and it was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure my little sister still plays it on our
Yeah.
family's computer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. It gets pretty dense.
I remember one level that was super hard. It was called MC Escher, and
funny.
it was a ridiculously hard
Like
level.
stairs and stuff.
It was one where it was like a triangle. It was a triangle,
But
and
it's-
you would go and you'd hit the gravity flipper, so you're like twirling all over this triangle that's just spinning and
infinite
rotating in
triangle.
the air.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
I know.
it was so hard. It took us so long to beat it.
Yeah. It's a solid game. It's a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
the multiplayer component was great. Music was cool. I wish I would play some if we could, but it's really good music.
Yeah, that's two I've
Yeah.
never heard of in a row.
There you go.
Well, you've got a
Mogan.
lot of
Add it to
lot
your
of research to
catalog.
do.
I know,
Right up
right?
here in the
My
old head.
internal catalog.
Yep.
Well, they're looking at me, so I gather it's my turn.
Yep.
It's interesting. I was thinking that most of the time, the games that I list are of the more non-violent variety. And it's funny because both of you have listed fairly tame games, a strategy game and a marble game.
Yes.
which
much
is
tamer than that.
which is pretty funny because my number 3 is one of the most violent games I can ever recall playing. It would have to be Unreal Tournament. So
that's awesome.
if you've never played Unreal Tournament,
fan.
all you need to know is that it's one of the best first-person shooters ever. I don't care. All the new ones can suck it because the numbers 1 and 2, the very first few Unreal Tournaments were some of my absolute favorites because one of my good friends in like the 4th grade, good old Jessie Janae, she was like, my bro, he just got Unreal Tournament. We're not supposed to play it. It's rated M. But if you come over, we can totally play it because my mom doesn't get home till 5 p.m. So we would go over to her house and play her brother's Unreal Tournament game, and we discovered that you can turn off the gravity, so you can turn it really, because most of the levels take place in space.
Yeah.
So you can turn off the gravity, and you can turn up the gore as high as you can get it. And a lot of the weapons, if you've never played Unreal Tournament, a lot of them
Classic
have
weapons.
very like explodey kind of very exploding quality. So a lot of the times, if you've got no gravity and you're blasting someone to smithereens with the rocket launcher, it's great because you just watch their body parts spin around and float off into space and blood shooting everywhere, and
They
it's
make
just
it
like,
very-
this
That's
is
awesome.
the best
Yeah.
thing I've ever seen.
They make it very apparent why it's rated M.
They make
You know,
it
they don't
very,
hold
it's
anything
abundantly
back.
obvious. Like, there's no question. That's exactly why it's rated out.
And they haven't made any more since, I think they made 2,
They made
right?
3.
No, they made
three.
They
They made
made Unreal
Well,
Tournament 3.
I also big game of mine was Unreal Championship,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
not. I don't know if you would.
I haven't heard of that
It
one.
was like not a spin-off. Same developers, Unreal made it, but it's Unreal Championship for the original Xbox. And I logged
Gotcha.
in a lot of hours into that game.
Probably 2 was my favorite installment.
I've heard people talk about 1 and 2, and like
That was the
nothing
one with
compares.
Zan, right?
I don't know.
I
Well,
think
I've never
Unreal
played- I've
Tournament
never
2
played 1
had
and 2.
Zan because he was like the final boss, and part of how addicted we were to the game, I think I spent the majority. Like, some people have like after school activities like sports or band or music
Screw
or
that.
art. Me and Jesse, nope, none of that. We'd go straight from school, take the bus to her house, play Unreal Tournament for hours and hours and hours because we were really young and we sucked at it. Like we weren't good. It was just that fun because even though we were getting killed every 5 seconds, the respawns were so fast. Who cares if you're
It's just a
dying right and left?
fast-paced
It's
game.
fast. It's a
fast.
fast-paced
You're
game.
flying around.
So a lot of other first-person shooters have like more sophisticated qualities these days. There's like stuff you collect. There's a story. I didn't want story. I wanted very fast-paced violence, a lot of blood, and no gravity. And Unreal Tournament delivered on all of that. So of the games that I've played as a young pup that weren't necessarily tame, that would probably be the one that I'm still the most addicted to, that I still go, feeling a little violent today. Should break out Unreal Tournament. Get my good old friend the flat cannon.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
pick.
the-
Some of the weapons
the
on
weapons are
Unreal, they're all like iconic.
They're
to me.
amazing.
They're
rocket
unreal.
They're unreal.
They're all- you could-
like the rocket launcher that twists when you shoot it, right? It turns.
You,
There's the electricity
that's if
sniper
you did
rifle.
right click.
Okay,
'Cause
and you
some of-
load it,
yeah,
right? Bump,
yeah.
bump, bump, and shoot 3.
Yeah, it was
yep.
amazing.
So can
Really
I
good
make
pick.
can I make a confession?
You can.
Jerrett's never played it.
Are you bad at it?
I've never played
You
it.
son of a bitch.
Well,
How do you call
well,
yourself? a gamer?
I know, right?
I'm
Like,
sorry, it's just one that slipped
gotta
through my
play
rate. No, I need to play it. Do you still have a way to play it?
I think I still have the third one, which is funny because
It's hard though.
I could, yeah,
it's
I-
hard.
I'll play.
like I
don't care.
the third one I was like, this isn't quite what I was looking for, and especially something they may have even had it in the third one, but in the second game, one of the like non-story modes was capture the flag, and I would play capture the
CTF.
flag non-stop
Yeah, it's great.
because the again it's so fast, the levels are over so quickly that once you win you're like, okay, it's only been 15 minutes, right? Next level. And then 15-minute sessions later, you look at the clock and you're like, holy crap, I gotta go to school. So
Spent too much time.
I've spent too much time here.
I mean, I could have put Unreal Championship on my list probably. That's another game with Marble Blast Ultra that I was at one point during the summer before my like maybe sophomore year of high school. I might be wrong, but no,
It's very
it was
specific.
before that probably. I was in middle school. I was probably in 7th grade actually. Me and my friends used to play that a lot. And
Yeah.
another time we were on the leaderboards, we were like number 78th in the world.
Okay,
for Unreal
we were
Championship.
absolutely never on the.
Can we just
leaderboard,
start calling
ever.
Zach leaderboard?
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm just good. I'm
He's
good
just
at
good
first
at
person.
every-
I'm good at video
good at
games.
marble
No, I'm
games.
good at. I love first person shooters. That's like my. I think
I'm
I
right
can
there
pick
with you.
those up.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm same thing. I'm average.
Uh-huh.
I'm adequate.
Yes.
I will every once in a while have a 5
phenomenal
kill streak
moment.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I'm good, and then immediately
We
just be
can-
destroyed.
Side note: can we play Destiny together? Even though you're playing on PlayStation, I'm playing on Xbox.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Oh, you
No,
really
I
can't?
don't think it goes cross-platform.
Oh, that's lame.
That is.
It is lame. Maybe I can find it like really cheaply used somewhere.
Is there
So
any
whenever I
game we can
eventually
play
buy an
together?
Xbox One,
Yeah.
All right, so let's go jump on to our
number two,
our
Joe?
number twos.
Or what do you want to do?
This is the most the number two. My number two is the newest game in my list, but again, like I said, I had to dig back, so these are kind of old. This one comes from 2007.
Whoa, so new.
So new.
So,
So new. It is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And the reason for this is because it was the first Call of Duty game I owned. I have since gone back and played the older ones before that. But I just got totally sucked into the multiplayer and would play it for hours. That's what I'm basing my addicting on these. Like, I played it for hours on end. I would play the campaign story, and then I would go back and replay the campaign story on on hardened and veteran. Then I would replay the story in the arcade mode, where it's like, you got a lot of points for killing people. It wasn't just you just finish the story, like a typical arcade game. And then on top of that, I would spend countless hours in the multiplayer. And I got that game a little before I moved out of my parents' house. And once I moved out of my parents' house, oh my God.
So much
freedom at the
worse.
time.
It got so much worse.
This is bad.
And I played it so much. I would get home from work and just sit on it and play. And where I lived, I had a crappy internet connection. And so I was that guy who was the lagger who was just like, I want to play, but I can't. It lags so bad, and just had to learn how to play with lag, kind of thing.
So annoying.
I would have to play it for 30 minutes and then take a break to. I guess it made my internet connection reset. I don't know, but it made placebo effect. It made it
Yeah.
seem like it played better. And so I just threw countless hours into it. And it was a lot of fun because I enjoyed the other Call of Duty games that I played a little bit before that. Like Call of Duty 2, I really liked.
Was Call of Duty 2 World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That
they
came out
all
with
were.
360,
They-
right?
yeah, it was
Modern
360.
Warfare was Modern Warfare. wasn't.
Modern Warfare was the first one that was like
like
modern
new,
times.
yeah. And I remember
But
that. I do remember that.
all the
coming out.
previous ones had been World War
Right.
II.
Right.
And then
Which I miss. I hope they kind of bring some of that stuff.
I think
back.
they are.
D-Day
I think
and
that's
stuff?
that's
Yeah.
the plan.
That's cool.
I think
stuff.
that's
remember
I've heard
looking
rumors of it going
really
back to
cool.
World War II.
Yeah, that'd be really
which
cool.
that would be really cool.
There's like a world war that was before that, right? Have they?
There was
Do
World
they
War
know
I, but,
about
like-
it? Because there's another one.
Yeah, but I don't
have
know.
D-Day.
Not to
Have
go
they
off.
not
Not
done
to
it?
go
It's
off.
an
good level.
installment. Good level.
Not to go on a total tangent, but I don't know how World War One game warfare would translate into a video game.
Well,
I
how
think
will
they've
we
done
ever
it.
know if they don't try?
I know.
Someone's done
I bet,
that.
I'd be
I know
willing
they
to.
have.
I'd be willing to
Like
play it.
Medal of Honor. That's an old game. That's before Call of Duty. There was Medal of
But
Honor.
the Medal of Honor one, it started in World War II too.
It did, but they might have done a World War One.
You're skipping for a guy that likes history, Jerrett. You're skipping an awful lot of it, just straight.
He eats what they give him.
I liked warfare. Okay.
Okay, it doesn't
Historical
matter.
warfare. Get over it. But no, and so then whenever I would go over to my friends' houses, it was a mix of playing the most recent Halo and Modern Warfare, and it turned into this. It was ridiculous. I remember this one time going over a friend's house, and just playing against them, and they did not play near as much as me. And I just had a sniper, and I was that guy who could run around and just like snipe people with no problem. Didn't matter. I didn't have to be perched up anywhere and like hidden. I could just be running along, saw you, and just like sniped
Yep.
you and piss them off so much.
That was me that you were pissing off. Like, this game's not realistic.
And so no, I just spent
The recoil alone.
ridiculous hours. But to be fair, it was the new one. It was the first one set in modern times, so it had a really cool feel. The multiplayer was really immersive, and they really changed up with all the unlocks and all that, and the perks and the power ups and all that you could get with airstrikes, helicopters, all that. I'll still turn it on and play it every once in a while.
Do they still have the servers active for it?
They do.
Really?
Oh.
They are
That's
ridiculously modded out.
Yeah.
And there are a ridiculous amount of hackers, so it takes forever to find a server that is actually still true original Modern Warfare gameplay. But it's still fun every once in a while to jump on and like get into a game has 32 people in it. So
that is cool. I remember that game coming out and that being a pretty big impact on the industry, and like it did well in sales. I just remember everyone talking about it. I remember the first time I played it and I shot somebody through a wall. And I don't think I'd ever,
like the 50 cal or something like that.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And I was like, I loved stuff like that. I've always been weirdly obsessed in video games with like bullet holes and gun shells. I remember I used to get, when like Halo 2 came out, the first thing I did was shoot the gun and look down to see if the gun shells were still on the ground. There was something about that realism that I really appreciated.
Well, and Call of Duty has done a really good job with that. Like in Call of Duty, the first Call of Duty, I remembered everyone was like, man, was very excited about the M1 Garand rifle because it has hit my mic. It has a special. You would load it with a clip, not single bullets one at a time. Yeah. And whenever you emptied that, it would eject the clip with a sound.
That's cool.
And they replicated that in the game, and everyone was like, "Man, that's a lot of good attention to detail." But no, all the Call of Duties, and it stood out in the Call of Duty series because it was the big change. The previous Call of Duty 3, came and went without any big hoopla whatsoever. It was on the Wii, and I don't think that translated that well.
Never was.
I didn't even know.
Modern Warfare revitalized the Call of Duty franchise, which, take it for what that is, and some people that's a bad thing with how it's gotten now.
I know, it's interesting to think where it started. I wonder if they knew the impact of what was going to happen with it. I mean, it became a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
I still enjoy the new installments. I really liked Advanced Warfare. It was a lot of fun. But so far, my favorite one of the whole Call of Duty series that I've played has been Modern Warfare.
Cool.
Now, we didn't check with Zach. Where were you on the leaderboard?
On Modern Warfare? I didn't have Modern Warfare. I don't think the only Call of Duty I've ever bought was Black Ops 2. It's the only one I've ever owned.
That's a good one.
It was a really good one. I had a great winter break playing that for days on end. But I've always been I've never been on board. And I don't know if that's pride or me trying to be different, but I've never been on the Call of Duty train.
Don't worry, I have never been on. I've been on.
But that's
that
good.
train
That's good because
either.
Jarrett's on it, and
I'll talk about it.
I'll
keep us all
It's a game that needs to be discussed. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it.
That's true. We would have gotten
too
here
big.
eventually.
It's a powerhouse.
What if
It's a
none of us had played it?
Well, we wouldn't have.
Then
anything
we shouldn't be on this podcast.
I was about to say we probably shouldn't be here.
I don't know that game.
Do you shoot a gun in that game or something? All right, Zach, what's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is a computer game, which I think this might be the first computer game I might be talking about. Possibly, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
I feel like it.
Could
it's
be.
the first computer game.
And computer games are big for me because that's where it all started. Before consoles, I was playing computer. Well, I was bouncing around Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, computer, stuff like that.
Yep.
That was a lot more answers than just computer.
Yes. It was. Never mind. I'm lying. But the game is Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure most people have either remember it or remember friends playing it or whatnot. Simulator game where you created your own amusement park. It was more than just roller coasters. It was everything from the grounds to the parks to the concession stands. The pricing of the tickets, all that stuff. It's a simulator of like SimCity or little microeconomy games like this. And Roller Coaster Tycoon was really fun because they gave you a large amount of freedom, and it was fucking hard. It was hard to meet a lot of the standards to have a good amusement park. It's hard to do the pricing right. The little patrons would throw up after riding on the roller coaster, and you'd be like, "Wow, you got to put trash cans here." There's a lot of, all that stuff, and it was great. It was hard. It was really hard to figure out how to be good at it.
Yeah.
The look of it is really great. It's like again somewhere in between cartoony and really actually kind of realistic. The rides looked really, really good. One of the more fun things you could do is create your own roller coaster. You build it yourself. Now, have you guys played? Do you guys remember playing this game?
I remember
played it
other
a little
people
bit,
playing it,
and
but I didn't.
I more had friends who played it. I played like Sim Tower and Zoo Tycoon a little bit.
Sure, Zoo
Tycoon. Is similar.
Yeah, very similar. Same idea. And but creating your own roller coaster and creating a good one was like hard to do, and people had like different levels of how much they liked it, like your patrons and all that stuff. And I guess one of the reasons games like this, not just Roller Coaster Tycoon, but any kind of micro economy games are so fun is they're ever changing. They need constant attention. You kind of always need to be grooming it to make sure everyone's happy, and that you're making enough money. You got to like switch the prices. Stuff goes up, stuff goes down.
So like, are you susceptible to huge financial breakdowns within the wider global environment?
I don't
of
remember
Roller
if
Coaster
like
Tycoon?
there was anything that came. Like, I don't think like a storm could blow up your roller coaster.
Oh, so there were no natural.
But there could be crashes and there could be breakdowns.
I remembered a friend showed me a roller coaster he built, and
I'm sure he
it,
just killed people.
on one hill, it just sent people flying
just
off
kills
because
them.
it went
Oh,
too,
so
it
in
went too
terms of
fast.
safety, that's not something they're actively
No,
patrolling.
you can open, technically, you can hit the green light for like a half-made roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it like goes through a loop-de-loop and it shoots off into a mountain. You're like,
Should I change it?
yeah, I think I like it.
On the
It's pretty
plus side, the
exciting.
patrons are dead, so we won't have to refund their money.
It's good economy. So you had that. Yes, it's a little micro economy, but you also had the creativity to do it however you wanted, to make your own amusement. And I was really big, like in the Sims game and stuff, and just each little pathway had to be like perfect. It had to have a little fence around it. Even if stuff cost extra to do double on each side, like
yeah.
2 concession
Make it
stands,
symmetrical.
make it symmetrical.
Right.
I was really into that, to like make it.
It's got to be a pretty park.
It's got to look nice. It's got to be pretty to me, And so I could spend hours just making it look a certain way. Same goes back to like any kind of customization you do nowadays with a character's face or whatever.
Yeah.
It takes me a long time. And that kind of, I think, flows into this addiction of being always like aware of everything about these kind of games, because they're so in depth and they're great. They really made it really well, where you had so many different layers that you had to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm playing a game like that, I can sit at a computer or a console for all day and just be totally into it. So that's my number 2, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Now,
One of my favorites.
In terms of vomit. Like,
terms of vomit?
in terms of vomit.
Well, you had to hide. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Could there be really like rebellious patrons of your park who, like, even if you put the trash can right in front
still, like,
of the
vomit
exit, like, would they
somewhere
just
else,
like look at it
someone's
and
puppy.
no, I think I'd rather vomit over here on the
don't
sidewalk.
remember.
It probably wasn't that
I
advanced.
doubt it, but I know. Now I'm thinking you didn't need to have crew members like janitors to clean up the vomit, take out the trash. You did need to have that side of the park as well.
Now, did
like
you
all
have
the
to
people that
set
worked
their
for you.
payroll? Like, did you
I
decide what
wanna
their
say
salaries
yes,
were?
but maybe not. Maybe they all came with a set salary.
It was probably
like
a set
that costs
salary.
like a
Oh,
I
certain
remember
amount a
that.
day.
I remember that about Sim Tower.
Because I would want to be like a really tyrannical.
I mean, you can set
Park
to
owner.
get into the park. You can set it for $100. If you wanted to, but like no one comes.
Right.
There's
all about balancing.
It is all about balancing, and it's hard. You have to
spent a-
like get like 15,000 people need to come here, and you need to have an amusement park rating of 600 or better. And like they have their own rating system about all that.
Yeah.
Water slides, I mean everything. You can create it like you can do the little curves, you can do a loop-de-loop here, then a boost, then it takes your photo right before you go to the
Nice.
mountain. You do, and you get an extra $250 there. There you go.
There you go.
So stuff like that, I love.
It's
I
nice
love
that you
just
remember
making my
that
own
it's
world.
an extra $250.
It's something like that. That's extra money. That's important. That's like 18 people getting their photos taken.
It all counts.
You gotta be a tyrant,
Mogan, what's your number 2?
Well, in terms of sheer amount of hours logged, I'm not sure if it's actually beating my number 1. It might be, because I've spent more years on it. Mine would just be the entire Pokemon franchise.
God.
So, including going way, way back, technically it probably doesn't belong in the podcast, as technically it's not a video game, but the actual card game, back when the card game first came out, we wouldn't just collect the cards, we would actually play the game that you were meant to play with the cards. So I've definitely
It's a
spent
rare breed.
hundreds upon, God, maybe even thousands.
Now, real quick to interject, did the card game come out before the video game? Because I always thought the video game came out before the
I
card
actually
game.
don't know.
I think I did research on this recently. Actually, I know I did. And I'm in the video game. I'm like 99. I don't want to say 100%, but I'm 99% sure the video game came out before the card game, which is cool.
Yeah, that is pretty.
The red and blue.
Yeah.
I know, which
Didn't they?
seems like it doesn't make sense.
In my world,
I
they came
know-
out at the exact same time. So, like,
Maybe
I
so.
seem to notice both
Maybe
at the
so.
same time. So I'm not really sure.
The way that I would have found out about it was through trading the cards, because they banned it at my elementary school because it was
Really?
because it was taking up
witchcraft.
it was taking up a little bit too much of the kids' lives. They were really addicted to the trading of the cards. So I remember being like, "What is this? I should find. Is there other stuff?"
We're getting sick.
And then, of course, they came out with the show, with the Pokemon show, and I was like, "Oh,
Nostalgia
okay,
overload right now.
gotcha." But of the ones that I've probably played, I think Pokemon Heart Gold would be the one that I have played the most and still probably love the best.
That's got to be second generation?
It would be, yeah.
'Cause I never played that.
And so the first generation ones I played, but like I wasn't. Again, when I was young, I was really stupid. I was not good at video games, at any video games. I loved them, but I was terrible at them. So even Pokemon, like the strategic component of the battles, I didn't really get it. Because as far as I was concerned, I just wanted the most adorable ones in my party. And all of the other ones were like, gross and ugly. I didn't even want to fight them. I just wanted to wander around in the grass, which I thought was pretty. But as it turns out, that's where the Pokemon are to attack you. So I wasn't particularly good until Heart Gold. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm finally old enough. I finally get it. I can finally actually understand the dynamics and build my party strategically and raise the right Pokemon. And that's where the addictive quality comes from.
Yeah.
Because there's
It's a good RPG.
There's so many options, especially when you get into the later generations. You can look at your party and go, well, of the 6 that I have and the 600 that are available, have I made the right choices? So
Right.
it's all about, do you want to diversify? Do you want a water type, a fire type, a psychic type, a ghost type? Or do you want to go, no, I'm going all water types, I'm going all ghost types?
It's a tough balance between like
It's
what you need and what you want.
It's a question
Yeah.
of what kind of a Pokemon trainer am I?
Yes.
And I'm the kind that's all ghost type all the time. I'm all ghost and psychic Pokemon because Gengar is the best. He's just the
Gengar
best
is
one.
very good.
And my bro would disagree. He would say that Alakazam.
I was going to say Alakazam.
Yeah, he would
He's
say
one of the
that
most powerful
he would
Pokemon.
say Alakazam is the best one, and we're
He
always
is super powerful.
battling it out. I don't win, but that's probably an indicator right there of who's actually better. But so one of the things that I probably like the most about the game is just the battle with other people, because for a long time I didn't really have a good concept of, hey, if I'm nearby to other people that have a Nintendo DS and they also have Pokemon, I can battle them. And then when I figured that out in high school, I was like, holy crap,
Yeah, that's a
this
big
is
deal.
a whole new level. And really, they probably should have also banned Pokemon at my high school, because it became a bit of a problem of just sitting there at the lunch table, not eating, not socializing, not looking at other people,
Training
just
Pokemon.
training your Pokemon, beating the crap out of your classmates. So it's definitely something that I still do. The most recent time I played was I was on a really, really long flight. And I, of course, broke out my gold A Link Between Worlds Special Edition Nintendo 3DS
Awesome.
with Pokemon X on it. And I'm looking around at the people on the plane next to me, and they're looking at me like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, yeah, suckers.
I'm about to have a lot of fun.
You look at you with your tragic little Kindle.
Yeah.
I've got all the power and all the fun. So it's really great to look around, especially at other kids, like actual kids.
You can give them a
who are-
wink. They
who are-
know.
Who
They
are
know.
on the plane and they look at you and they're like, no. And you're like, yeah, you wish you had let your mom brought yours. It's really nice to still technically be an adult, but still be so far away from actually being an adult, because there's this addiction in my life that I
Right.
can't give it up.
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting just the Pokemon's staying power and
I know.
power to still draw in new fans.
Yeah, because
My-
it's not just old people like
No,
me, it's
my-
the other
I
kids.
know.
My
I know.
8-year-old nephew is playing Pokemon trading cards with his friends.
It's awesome. I mean,
What's
it's such a
the-
universal attraction to
Yeah.
having your own these pets that
Now,
you know.
like, what's his level? What kind of Pokemon?
Oh, I have no idea. I've just seen him play it, and I know he plays it. I'm like, damn, that's impressive. That Pokemon can still pull in kids even that young.
Yeah.
And I mean, the newer installments are still, a lot of people who have the very strong nostalgic feelings will say, they're all crap. But they really are still very good, and it's definitely maintained the quality of the games while adding really, really cool new features. In more recent games, the Pokemon Ami, which is the feature where you actually zoom into your Pokemon, and it's not battle, it's just you literally playing with them. And like you feed them treats,
cute.
and you like dress them
nice.
up and stuff, and it's like, this is exactly what I wanted. This
read
is
my mind.
perfect. And so something that's cool about that feature is if you build a really, really strong relationship with your Pokemon, they'll actually do different things in battle. Like, so something that they might do nowadays is, you're fighting some other Pokemon. They land a super effective hit. You're sure you're gonna die, but your Pokemon's HP gets down to 1, and then the game comes up with like the little dialogue box, and it's like, oh, so-and-so took the hit and stayed strong for so-and-so trainer, and like they look back at you, and they wink at you, and like a little heart icon comes up, and it's like, they do love me. These are my children. I can never leave them.
All right. So now it's time for the highlight of the show. The number one. Our number one picks.
It's exciting.
And here we go. My number one. I alluded to it earlier, or I didn't really allude to it, but I alluded to its genre. The two types of games that can really just suck me in and keep me on forever are real-time strategy games and turn-based strategy games. I already talked about a real-time strategy. So now it's time.
Y'all already know.
You already know about that. You already know about what life I'm about.
Bombs over here.
So my number one is a turn-based strategy classic, Civilization 3.
We should have guessed.
Never should have guessed. I've already talked about the series before.
We should have known.
But Civilization 3, of all of them I've played, is my favorite, and the one that I have probably, out of any game, I have probably put the most amount of hours into. I got it on my 13th birthday. It came out in 2001, but I got it on my 13th birthday, which was only 2 years later. And it could only be played on my dad's computer.
Why?
That's
just
probably
his?
tricky.
Because his computer was newer and can handle it. Mine was still old, and the family computer was old and couldn't handle it. My dad's had a nicer, newer one that could. And so my dad worked from home though, and
Son of a bitch.
and he was a pastor, and so I could really only play it on Sunday afternoons when he wasn't going to use it anymore.
Right.
And so, but I would play it then, and then finally I got a newer computer. Newer family computer, and so I installed it on there. It just every day just would play it and play it and play it and play it and play it.
It's real time, or it's turn based.
It's turn based.
So that means you go, then they go. Like, I don't know a lot of turn based games. I haven't played a lot.
I have not ventured out farther than Civilization.
Maybe it's the only one.
I mean,
I know there are other ones, but
not in the same way as Civilization, but a lot of RPGs are turn-based battle.
Right.
So
like
it's the similar concept, but different execution.
Exactly.
And you have a whole army.
Well, it's Civilization starts off, especially in the earlier installments like Civilization 2. You could really expand and you could really build out and get really big, especially if you play it on an easier difficulty level. Civilization 3 was kind of the same way. Civilization 5, they really toned it down, and now I can play forever with only, I will not build a city. I will build a city once every 100 turns or something like that. It just very limited and very, because you want to make sure your infrastructure is strong in each city before you branch off any farther and to expose yourself to the enemies and all that stuff out there. But yes, you do have armies. In Civilization 3, I loved it because you could just build individual units. In Civ 5, now you build a squad, and that's that unit. So you don't have as many because, man, it could get ridiculous how many units you could have out. And if you have to command each one individually, you spend a whole lot of time hitting that space bar saying skip. But then it could be really awesome when you get the notification from military advisor, my lord, there's a barbarian uprising near such and such city.
Jerrett.
My lord. And it's like, oh shit, what's coming? And then you see it come because it had fog of war, so if you hadn't discovered that you couldn't see, or if it was out of your line of sight, you couldn't see. And then there would literally be this horde of 20 barbarian horseman units. This happened all the time. They would just come out and just keep piling on and stacking. Yeah, these are AI characters. And just stacking on. And you're just like, let's go. Crack the knuckles. Let's set in. It's time to party, boys. And no, it was so fun. I loved being the Persians because they had this special unit, the Immortals. And it was the crazy thing. It had the highest attack, one of the highest attacks of the ancient era, and you could get it in the ancient era. And if you used it right, it was still effective even in like the modern era, especially on easier difficulties. When you're super advanced and there are other civilizations who are way behind still,
so civilizations can gain in time, like they can become.
If you like really spend on your science and like really research new technologies, you could be in like modern era.
I was thinking
somebody
like a
else
time traveling aspect.
Wow.
I was not thinking of it the right way.
No, it all depends on how technologically advanced your civilization is. So yeah, I could be chilling. I could be chilling in the modern era and you're chilling in the Renaissance era.
Could you fight them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'd
I
probably
would fight
beat them.
them all.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah,
And since I'm saying I would still use the Immortal and send them off to go fight, and I'm just whooping
still
up on
work.
these people, and it's so fun because they had this like really cool like curved sword. And Civilization 3 was really fun too because it was the first time that they had the units were animated. In Civilization 2, they were just the icon that just slid from space to
okay,
space.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then in Civilization 3, they actually like moved. When
That's
they
good.
fought, they swung their swords and stuff at each other and made noise and all this other stuff. Super fun. And
Sounds like chess.
You know?
It
It's like
does,
a game-
yeah,
I mean,
does.
game of chess.
it really is, but you're
Yeah.
playing against like 6 other people, 6 to 8 other people, and man, I would think it's hard. I play on like the 3rd or 4th difficulty level, I want to say, and I
How
think
many are
those
there?
are hard. 8.
Oh.
The hardest one is deity,
Oh.
and I used to
You're a
think
deity.
you have to be to beat it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people tried. I've just tried to be for jollies. I'll just be like, I'll just for shits and giggles. I'll just turn it on and just be like, I'll see how I
far
do
I
as a
get.
deity. I make it like 2 turns and I'm like,
I'm dead.
I'm done. I can't expand anymore.
Civilization's destroyed.
It's always good to like keep your ego in check.
Oh,
just
and-
just
and
knock
playing-
yourself down a couple notches.
Playing deity will do that. It will just knock you down, and you're just like, oh, I'll go back and play chieftain again, which is the easiest difficulty. But no, Civilization 3 by far is my number 1 most addicting
a good
game
pick, good
in
pick.
terms of just how much I liked it and how many hours I spent.
Now,
in it.
does it actually have an hours counter? Because Pokemon does. So I
Oh, it
can look
does?
back at my old at
Grand
my
Theft
old
Auto has that.
cartridges,
I love- I don't
and
know
it'll
how games
show
do
you
have
on
that.
like the load screen.
Sure.
It'll be like
How
how
long
many
you've been-
hours you've.
I know a lot of
logged.
games do that now. I don't remember if Civilization 3 does. Civilization 5 does. Well, it also tells you because I have it installed through Steam, so Steam tells me how long I've played it. I don't remember how much that one is. Again, as I said earlier, it's harder now to get into the strongholds and the civilizations because I know if I turn it on,
You're gonna be there for
I'm
a
going
while.
to be there for a
Dangerous.
while. So I really have
Maybe
to
an
be
afternoon.
selective. I really have to be selective of when I play it because of that. I know I've said it before. Hashtag one more turn.
One more
Hashtag-
turn.
Because that's what I say.
Just
That's what I
one
say
more
to
turn.
myself every time. One more turn and I'll quit. Let me just build this unit.
One more
Let me just get this unit built. I'll be set for the war when I come play next time, and then I wind up
Well,
just
let's
fighting
do
through
this
that
next
war.
thing.
Yeah,
Pokemon is just one more level. Just
Yeah.
one more level.
more.
Yeah.
Just one more.
And that's.
Well, now my other guy's one level behind. I gotta level him up. too.
Gotta be fair.
We gotta be nice and even.
I have to quit. I have to quit in a good position. I don't want to
Yeah.
quit in the middle of a war. I'll see this out to the
I
end.
mean, who would do
Finish
that?
this war that lasts eons.
All right, Zach. What's your number 1?
So my number, well, before we go into it, I guess by sheer hours, it's not the one I've put the most into. You know, I
Yeah.
just did it on more of a. I found myself playing it frequently, over and over during one sitting. You know, more. You know, obviously Halo 2, I would do that, but I've talked about Halo 2 enough. I will talk about it plenty more, and I thought this game would be a more interesting pick just because it had mechanics that made it a little bit more addicting. And I talked about this game recently with you guys, and it's funny that it's on my list right now, but it's Rockstar Presents Table Tennis.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I recently mentioned to you guys, and we were laughing about it. You guys couldn't believe that Rockstar made a table tennis
I mean,
game.
like your
still don't.
games
Still
today.
don't know. I'll believe it when I see it.
Your games today have been fascinating, like Marble Blaster.
I know. I
and
got a good
table
list today.
tennis.
That's
Yeah.
why this is
These
a
are
good
good
topic
lists.
because it's not necessarily the games you would always think.
Yeah,
It's-
I know.
You know?
I'm digging my list. So, Rockstar Presents Table Tennis is exactly how it sounds. It's table tennis. It's ping pong.
Nothing else to it.
Nothing really else to it. That's true. They did as much as they could. I think.
Well,
I
yeah.
think they took it as far as they
I mean,
stretched it
how
as far as it could
extreme
go.
can ping pong be
Yeah,
before
seriously.
you run out of things?
I
Is
know.
the hardest difficulty level Forrest Gump? You have to play Forrest Gump.
No, they got a
great.
German player.
I may
that's
not be
really
as
good.
smart
Oh,
as
no,
I
they got
am.
a Chinese player that's really
Oh.
good. Su Ling or something his name, and he holds it like butterfly. Yeah, that's a certain way you can hold it. Table tennis
No,
paddle.
we don't.
I just
we don't know
hold
You
it.
don't
that.
hold it like a
No,
racket.
I just hold the
It comes
racket.
here, and the paddle's here. You got your fingers
He's like
here.
gesturing, but you're
and you
just
hit
gonna
like
have
this.
to. No, nobody knows what you're talking about.
they can't see.
That seems.
They know.
They
People
can't
that played
see it. They don't know.
They
Nobody.
With what you're describing and the mouth noise you're making, yes, I can see it.
You'll
I
just
can
have
see
to
it.
Google images. Butterfly
I
hold
think it's
table
butterfly.
tennis.
I want to say it's butterfly. That's all my knowledge of table tennis. Anything that's professional, I got from this game. So whatever Rockstar say, I believe.
Well, thank you, Rockstar,
Thank
for
you, Rockstar, for not just
putting
letting
Zach
me
on the
kill people
leaderboards.
and
Yeah, what's your rank? Where are you on the
What's your
leaderboard?
rank?
I don't know if I ever got ranked in Rockstar table tennis, but I did have some pretty epic online matches. I did, because one of the coolest things about
That
it.
almost sounds nerdier than just saying you had online matches.
How did you make that sound dirtier than it possibly could?
Oh, because you're talking about table tennis.
The one of the cool things about it is it would track how many hits you've had back and forth. So, you go from like 1, 2, 3, and you get up there. I mean, you find a good opponent online or a really tough AI opponent, you're in like 150, 200, 250. I mean, it gets up there. A little white number at the bottom goes up. The ball cracks around 80 or so.
Oh my god!
You got to get a new ball.
New strategy. No, just the ball hits a little bit differently.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta, it's like a little bit different. Basically, the mechanics of it were just the two analog sticks. Left would move your player left and right. Right would be you could either hit it to the right for right spin, left for left spin, back spin, top spin. I think you could use the buttons too, but I remember using the analog stick. As you progressed, and this is how the game tried to put depth into it, which I thought actually was pretty good. As a play progressed, as the rally continued, you had a little meter that would fill up from like I want to say red to yellow to green. And so the red would fill, then you're in the yellow, and if you're in the green and it's flashing, like you're like hot, you're in the zone. And
table tennis.
And you're like hitting it really fast, and and there's a lot of like you could place it. You could do backspin to the left, you could do a drop shot to the right. So it did as much as it could, and it was as you can imagine with a game so simple. I even remember IGN mentioning in the review, probably the most realistic simulator out there when it came out, which I thought was interesting because I think of how simple of a game it is, and they were able to like go into it so much. IGN called it the most realistic simulator out there.
Now,
Crazy, right?
So in terms of just actually game mechanics, was there pressure sensitivity? Like if you hit with the analog stick really lightly, could you do like a short hit?
Yes, you could. You could do a drop shot and I remember like you could do too much to the left and your controller would vibrate, and if it was vibrating when you hit to your left, it would go out. So there was a sensitivity there, and like so for instance, if they hit a right spin shot and then you hit another right spin shot, or maybe left for you, keeping the spin going might influence it out of them. So there was strategy.
So there's a lot more physics and stuff involved.
There was, and obviously it's great graphics. The characters look really good. There's huge crowds. The crowd gets into it. I mean, it's fun.
And when does this come out?
2006.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
it's more recent than I would have guessed. I was thinking
Never
like
made a blip on my radar.
1999, maybe.
Right, and but one of my favorite things, if both players are in the flashing green, the lights dim all around the court, and it's just a spotlight on the table, and you guys are flying back and forth. It's going so fast. And it's like 100, 110, 115. The points are racking up of how many hits you've done, and it's super intense.
That sounds stressful.
It is, and but it was just fun to play. It was like playing real ping pong, except better. No, but that's why it was so addicting. You could play with your friend. Great offline multiplayer game that I should have included in the last one, but it was a really good offline multiplayer game that you could play with your friend over and over, and it was fun. And the different German character, Chinese character, American character all had different abilities, all could do nothing, no like special abilities, like it wasn't unrealistic like flame balls or like ice balls or whatever like that, but they just had different ways of reacting to spin, amount of top spin, all that stuff. You could dive. And one of the fun things about it was, let's say a guy hits a really good shot and you barely get it back. You kind of lob it back. They start smashing it overhand. You see this in real life, in real ping pong matches that get crazy, like professional. He'll smash it back, and you have to back up your character to the boundaries of the map. And
to
you're
hit
like,
it back.
and you're hitting it back, and it's so much fun. And the
Man, that's crazy.
the replay was really good. Every time the point was over, they had a replay, and you could hit the buttons to do slow motion whenever you wanted to. They put a lot of in depth into that. So I'm telling you, they went crazy with like making it super like realistic and fun. We'll play it sometime.
I'm sure
my interest is piqued. I want to play it now.
Yes.
Remind me the console it's for?
I played it for Xbox 360.
Okay.
Now,
if Rockstar made it, they probably made it for more than that.
I think they did.
Now, how would you say it compares to similar, more modern interpretations like Wii Sports, table tennis? Not even
better.
close?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, because Wii Sports is made for anyone to be able to really kind of pick up and play.
Just a lot better. Because Rockstar is a notable, has a great reputation of a great game developer. So I don't know whose idea it was. I would love to know how that
I really do like.
I'm really bored. I really love this tennis mechanic we've put into this game.
Like
let's see what this does.
They probably had one in the office, and they were like, "We're running out of ideas for this year. We got to come up with something." How does everybody feel about table tennis?
I mean, they did Grand Theft Auto 3. They must have made it in between 3 and 4. I'm thinking, and they're like, let's do a little side game, table tennis. I would love to be there in the meeting though.
And they were like, what's the most opposite of Grand Theft Auto? Table tennis.
Seriously.
What's the least
have been
violent game we can think
Table
of?
tennis.
Table tennis simulator. That sounds great. Do it.
That is the opposite of Grand Theft Auto.
We need to clean up our reputation.
All right, Mogan.
That's my number one.
Okay,
Bring it home.
I genuinely don't know at this point if I've logged more hours, and unfortunately there isn't a counter. So my number one game that is an ongoing daily struggle with the addiction would be Animal Crossing New Leaf.
You've mentioned this before.
So
haven't
I've
you?
mentioned it before. So it's one of my favorite games, and it's the kind of game that is so simple, because all you are, if you've never played it, so there are a few different Animal Crossings. I think the very first one was for GameCube, and then they came out with one for the Wii, but then the more recent one, minus Happy Home Designer, of course, Happy Home Academy, would be the New Leaf, which is for the 3DS. So they did try to bring the 3D component to it, but I'm kind of a wuss and it gives me a headache. So I have to turn that component off. And for this kind of game, it doesn't matter. Like, there's no reason that you would need a 3D aspect to it. So all you're the mayor of a town. And your town only has a maximum of 10 villagers. And you can have as few as, I think, 5. So you can have between 5 and 10 villagers, and literally nothing bad can ever possibly happen to you. The worst thing that can ever happen is you can get bad luck for a day and you trip when you run. That's as bad as it gets.
But there must be something
There,
to do.
so what
Yeah.
gets you?
What pulls you in?
What
Because so far
gets you
I'm not
about-
sold.
No, see, that's what's so beautiful about it. There's no real reason to play. It just gets you. Like, it sinks. You're like, you know what? I should visit town today. I should go check on all my villagers, because you can like build relationships with them. You can get to know them better. You can move different people in and out. So like if someone says, hey, I'm going to move, you can either have them stay by saying, no, don't go. Or you can be like, yeah, sure, move out. I don't care. Never liked you anyways. So you can just let them stay, or you can let them move away. You can do a lot with landscaping. I'm not sure how big of a fan you are of landscaping, but it's the best.
I played Minecraft and did a fair amount of landscaping.
It's similar. It's almost like Roller Coaster Tycoon in that you want your town to look a very specific way. And you can choose to build different kind of projects for your town. You can build new fountains. You can build an oil rig, and different kinds of things will have different effects on the happiness of your villagers. So like your whole goal as mayor is to make your town very, very happy.
Well, there you go. There's some
yeah, that's
incentive.
the only goal that there could possibly be, to have the fanciest house and to have all of your villagers be happy. So once you reach perfect town status, the only way that you could lose that is if you really crapped it up and you never visited town for like a year, and then you came back and everyone had moved away and they were all really disappointed in you. And that happens to people if you're away for a long time.
So you got it.
But if you're not
That's how it
away,
gets you.
if you play every day, everybody stays happy. It's all good.
Interesting.
And because nothing bad can happen, it's the perfect wind down game. You just go home, you've had a terrible day, you go, I don't even feel like blowing people to smithereens today in Unreal Tournament. I don't even want to rocket launcher anybody. That's how bad of a day I've had. You go, what's the most peaceful thing I can think of? I think I'm going to plant some new flowers in my town.
That is
And then
nice.
I'm going to water the flowers. And then I'm going to go talk to people. And that's the whole game. And it's the best.
Is it big? Are
No,
the towns? No, they're
no.
pretty small.
Your town is small, so you can like choose the style of map that you want, but it's always going to be the same size.
Yeah.
So like you always have a certain amount of coastline, you always have a river, you always have like a certain amount of land area, because they have to technically be equal. But beyond that, it's a small, visually, like your town is not big. You can walk from one end to the other in 5 seconds. But if you run, like, you can kill your flowers and ruin your grass. So you have to walk.
Don't
It's
run.
better to walk. Like, you don't want to mess up all of your beautiful landscaping. So it's the kind of game where you just play every day just to keep it running, just to keep your town going. And if you think about it, you can't stop being mayor in real life. You got to keep being the
signed up
mayor.
for it.
So like on
do
average, on average, so this is like a thing you could turn it on for 5 minutes and be good. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
good
not
question.
you, not
Good
you
question.
necessarily.
No,
I
I'm
mean, I
shaking
know.
my head.
Yeah, I mean,
you
because
gotta do some stuff when you log on.
because from how you've talked about it, it's something you get on and you stay on for a while. But could you, in theory, be something that you just turn on for like 5 minutes and be good.
You could. So if you were just trying to maintain your town, meaning you
How
didn't.
good of a mayor
So
do you wanna be?
something that a lot of people get really, really into is finding perfect villagers. So like there's a finite amount of specific character villagers that you can get, and they have different personality types. And a perfectly balanced town would have one villager of each personality type.
Okay.
So what a lot of people do is they create their dream village, and that includes, of course, their dream villagers. If you're away for a really long time, they move away. So if a person has their dream village, everyone is there, they don't want anything to change, in theory, they could log on once every 3 to 4 days to have someone ping them, so to have a villager alert them, because every 3 to 4 days, it lets them know, hey, I'm thinking about moving.
Did we record?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
That would be a nightmare.
It's going. Look at all those waveforms over there.
Okay, so I'm sorry for breaking that up.
He looks so concerned.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
The button's pushed. I can see it.
Okay.
I'm all good. We're all good.
Okay.
So yeah, in
Okay.
theory, you could just
you could spend very little time,
you
but it's
could
also one that
spend
you can
very
spend
little time if
tons
you
of
were
time
a
in.
dangerous kind of mayor. But if you really care and if you really invested all the time and effort into making your perfect town, then if you want to sustain it, you have to play once every 3 to 4 days, just to make sure that nobody moves and nobody else tries to move in and ruin all of your beautiful landscaping, because they can build their house anywhere.
So those are the kind of antagonists. People
Yeah,
that can
yeah.
Interesting.
When somebody new moves in and ruins your hybrid flowers, it's really annoying.
See, just listening to it, that doesn't sound like a game that I would necessarily get sucked into.
Yeah,
but,
it doesn't.
But I don't know. I mean,
would
it's
agree.
one that who knows that I could. I'm sometimes weird things pull me in like that. So who knows? It has the real-time strategy aspect to it, so I could see myself getting
I
pulled
think
in.
Minecraft's a little bit like that. I mean, you don't even have yes, Minecraft, you have people to defend, or you have
Right.
fight at night, but I remember playing Minecraft and I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
See,
You know?
that's like
it has to have a clear goal for me.
Not having a goal is actually what
make your own
makes
goal.
it. So
Oh,
that's the
so
thing. Like your
philosophical.
goal is just whatever you want your town to
Sure,
be, and that's
sure.
very malleable. So
to make
there's
your own meaning.
there's no end. The game changes with the seasons, so
That's
it
nice.
changes. Like new things will happen in town on a cycle. So like
Yeah.
now that it's October, none of the very large beetles are populating on my beaches anymore. So now it's like, oh, I've got these annoying crickets that come out at night. I really like them. So you can time travel around. So if you want it to be summer forever, you can just reset the date because it matches the real world calendar. So every day matches the same day in the real world.
Interesting.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
There's some connection there to reality, which is kind
See,
of
that's
nice.
how it gets you though, because
Yeah,
it's like,
it's like
hey,
you're-
it's the
it really is
same day.
yours.
It's really your town. It's really
Yeah.
like a little tiny virtual life that's
like that.
happening
That
somewhere
is-
else.
I give it a
That's
chance.
a lot of detail into that. Yeah. I might.
Yeah.
I might. Who knows?
We're not gonna do it. Screw that game.
No, I want to go shoot somebody in,
Yeah, I gotta-
in Call of Duty. So no. Okay.
And speaking of interior design, you can also make the inside of your house super duper
There it is.
fancy.
There's the-
With all, you can customize your furniture,
With
make it
all the
super
trimmings.
awesome. With all the trimmings. My favorite is the Rococo design. It's very French and frilly. It's
very
my
cool.
fave.
nice.
It's very cartoony looking.
It is. It's
Right.
very
I
like
remember
there's
some
nothing
screenshots.
realistic about it
Right.
except that there are trees. Like that,
It's the only thing that
There are
that's as
resembles
there's
anything
houses
real.
and trees, and that's as far as it goes.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is our top 3 list of the most addicting games. If you agree with us or want to share your own and have any other comments, questions, or whatever, or want to share with us your the games that you just could never put down, feel free to send us a tweet at Team Chat Podcast .com, just at Team Chat Podcast, or you could send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. So also we'd like to remind you that to go, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon page, we'll be posting up you can subscribe if you have a few dollars you want to toss to us, just send our way to say, hey guys, you're doing a great job. You'll get some cool little benefits and perks, but you can check that out at patreon.com/teamchatpodcast.com. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and come back for the next episode.
Bye.
See ya.